This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News, News-Free Dixie for the 21st century.
We All Be Radio News. Welcome the great Mr. Ed Redditt, a pioneer extraordinaire. 40 years ago, sir, you was actually on the scene of one of the most horrible crimes in American history, the assassination titled Dr. Martin Luther King. Will you please explain your role?
Well, my role was what they may call surveillance, or I guess you call it surveillance. I was stationed at the firehouse prior to the assassination, but on that day, I was ordered to police headquarters and told that there was a contract on my life, and therefore I was carried home. And while seated in the car awaiting my security, the radio blasted that Dr. King had been shot. I immediately ran into the house because my mother-in-law was very sick and she was quite an admirer of Dr. King. I didn't want her to hear the news. But as I got in, she began to scream and holler, "Please take me, don't take Dr. King." She had a small transistor radio under her pillow, which we had forgotten. But that was, and she died a week later. So therefore, I spent my time in the house and my family in the house for 3 or 4 days under security.
You was a Memphis police officer, correct?
I was a police detective at that time.
Police detective. So, I mean, what we think about, you say, so you had a contract on your life, correct?
That's what I was told when I got to headquarters, while they moved me from the firehouse.
So when you thought about that and assassinating Dr. King, do you think something was fishy, like there was a conspiracy going on? Or
well, I've always said there was conspiracy, and I still say there was conspiracy, and there are some locals who say it was not, but all evidence lead to and point to there was a conspiracy.
Like any other evidence you would say? I mean, like, wow, I know people kind of skeptical, you know, with the Kennedy thing, people still believe that Oswald acted alone, but some others still believe that.
They've already proven that. They already got evidence that it was more than just Oswald involved in that one. All assassinations of this nature are withheld from the public for security reasons, for many reasons. Abraham Lincoln's wasn't released for 104 years. Security was involved in his assassination. So those things are withheld for many reasons, security and many other reasons, whatever they may be. I just get kind of upset about it, and I told the Congress that when I was at the hearing, that why spend billions of millions of dollars on an investigation when you know you're not going to release it anyway. So, you know, to me, it's just futility, and they already had the information on what, who, when, and where. So again, that was a conspiracy during that time. Everything points to it. Frank Holloman had been the director of, been by FBI, had been the right hand of J. Edgar Hoover for 12 years before he became the director of fire and police in Memphis. Everybody knows the feelings of J. Edgar Hoover against Dr. King. So if I become the director, would not have the same. I can't work for a man if I don't have the same feeling, especially for 12 years. So you start putting those kind of things together. Again, I still don't think they want it released yet, everything that took place. But it was mighty peculiar. After he was assassinated, everybody started leaving town. The mayor went to Arkansas. The chief went to Arkansas. The director went to Missouri. Everybody just disappeared. Why are you going to leave town if everything's okay?
That's amazing. I mean, it is lots of food for thought. I mean, so you actually saying that the government was directly involved in the assassination, local and federal.
Right. So it was a total thing put together. I mean, the man was tracked. He was wiretapped everywhere he went. You know, people followed him everywhere he went. So, you know, again, here's a guy who's a minor criminal who lived in a trailer.
Right.
Had no money. So where'd he get all the money to do all get all these sophisticated visas from? Get his face changed over, fingerprints changed over, traveling all over the country. Where you get the money from?
Well, he was an escaped convict, correct? He escaped from a federal penitentiary in Missouri.
Yeah, but where you gonna get all the money to do all this traveling?
That's true. I definitely agree with that.
He wasn't a successful criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So where you get all the money from? How you gonna get all these passports, sophisticated passports? You're gonna get surgery changing your facial features and fingerprints and all this kind of stuff. Can't do that on zero money. That takes money.
Yes, sir. Can you explain how the atmosphere was for, I know Dr. King came down to Memphis for the sanitation workers strike to support the sanitation workers. How was the atmosphere in Memphis 40 years ago? How would you describe it?
Well, again, we wasn't treated a little bit more than the sanitation workers as policemen.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, they had just shortly changed over, where a squad car, where blacks was in a squad car. It just changed over where they would allow blacks to make white arrests. We still had dual court system, white court, black court. That hadn't been long changed. So the atmosphere, you don't change history overnight. So the sentiment and the behavior of people remains the same. Regardless of what law you change, you got to change it in your heart. So you don't change it 2 or 3 years. It's going to change. So the mentality was still there. I don't care about you. The same prejudices and biases were still there. So the atmosphere, when policemen we couldn't take the examination for promotion. When I first started, Beale Street was your beat. That's how far you went. You didn't go no further. You didn't do anything else. And we had to fight like the devil to to take the examination. Well, that was just a year before sanitation strikes started. So you're not improving anything. The only difference in sanitation strike, they had no uniforms. They worked rain, sleet, snow, or whatever, lifting 55-gallon drums full of everything you can think of, open garbage can. You can imagine the maggots in it. Putting it on their shoulders in rain with no uniforms, no health insurance, no pension. Still don't have a pension. I mean, I'm just reading about it this morning. I know it's still that bad. Well, not their fault totally on this deal, but again, it couldn't belong to the credit union. You can imagine $1 and something an hour, picking up 55-gallon drums of filth. The waste that nobody else wants to handle. And then call a boy in the process. A boy can't pick up 55-gallon drum.
You're right. Not even a war on steroids.
So you were mentally, and I call it a mental abuse more so than a physical abuse. I can't counter a man with a gun or machine gun, but to mentally and abuse me, such as policemen in those days. I always defended that idea of police brutality. I said, I ain't worried about you with a stick and a gun.
Right.
I'm worried about when you stop me with my wife and my children, you call me a boy and a nigger and disrespect me in front of my family, and I can't defend myself. To me, that's mental abuse. That's worse than the physical abuse. And the same thing by calling me a boy. I am a grown man, 60, 60. Most men, garbage men, were 50 and 60 years old. You're calling them boy. And they got to take their hats off and bow and all this kind of stuff. That's degrading. That's the worst type of abuse. You don't even worry about the physical, just the physical or the mental abuse that you have to go through and have to contain with and put up with. That was damaging to me, the most damaging part than anything else. To deny me the right to belong to a credit union, deny me a uniform, and make me work 12 and 13 hours a day in all types of weather, with no benefits, and then call me a boy on top of it. That was the hurting part to me, the more hurting to me than anything else.
This was just 40 years ago.
Years ago. I called this a few years ago.
A few years ago, right?
You're only here for the moment. I call the moment. The moment goes by fast.
Right. You true of that. Like, I'm going to ask you this, too. Like, what was the reception of Dr. King, given this environment, of all these people being mentally abused? How did people receive the black community?
Well, his reception overall, I think, was good. You still have the elite. You still have the some of the preachers and some of the everyday folk who don't want him coming here meddling in our affairs. You know, these are black folk I'm talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want you coming here meddling in our affairs, and kind of try to change things for us. We okay. We happy. Those are the ones who are not carrying garbage saying this.
Right.
Follow me? And some of the preachers are being paid by the conservative element to take pictures and create a division, continue to create a division. And so they can put in their newspapers, see here, this is what they're saying, this is what they ain't, this is what they're not. You see what I'm talking about? That stuff still prevail.
Mm-hmm.
Coming down Beale Street, there was a minister throwing out pamphlets out the window, negative pamphlets about Dr. King. I went to visit with him later on, see what the deal was. Being paid. It's surprising how many people were paid and lived well off during those times off the white conservatives who wanted to keep things as they were.
They were black ministers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It is still true today. You're right, man. So it's unfortunate.
It bothered me, and when you know this and nothing you can do about it, you pick up a guy who got writing checks like 40 and he beats you back downtown, and you can't bother him because he's the man, he belongs to that group. He's part of that group. You can't touch him. This kind of stuff. So, it's irritable when you can see it and nothing you can do about it. So changes is always in the heart, not on paper. So it's we've come a short distance. We're running a 100-yard dash, and I think we've probably made 45.
Right.
We haven't made it halfway yet, to my thinking. And again, I like the history. I like to read history, and think about Booker T. Washington. He said, again, he wasn't he was more of a separatist if you really read his writings. But he was separatist himself, saying, "Let's buy your land. Let's get your business together." Because the green, and I painted my building when I was on 40th Street, 3 different colors. The police service center, green, white, and black. And you can have your white power, your black power, but the power in this world is green.
Right.
That's what Booker T. Washington was talking about. If you got the green power, you ain't got to worry about being discriminated against. Because everybody wants some of that green if you got it.
Right. You're right.
You get what I'm talking about? So that's, nothing wrong with Du Bois. Du Bois said, hey, we got to have education. Because man without knowledge is still lost.
Right.
You got to have the knowledge to carry on a business or develop anything you need to do. So we got caught up in a division, letting somebody divide us between intellect and economics, and didn't have no sense to say, hey, we can do both. And now what are we crying for? We need economics.
Right. What we're crying for, we're not necessarily doing it.
Booker T was talking about economics a long time ago.
Right.
See, if we didn't understand that. A few years ago, we had 12 million acres of land. Now we got less than 1 point. We can give it away. Sold it away. And in America, ownership is what it's all about.
That's right. I definitely second that. I think it's interesting because I know the people, when you listen to Dr. King's last speech, he was talking about economics.
Economics, ownership. If you read the Constitution, if you read the confederations, all these history stuff, they came from England for land.
Right.
We get hung up on the religious thing. Yeah, there's a few guys, if some come over here for religious purpose, but the majority of them coming for economic purpose, to own land. What did they do to the indentured servants? When you work for me 7 years, I'll give you some corn, some seed, and some land. So the bottom line, I'll work, man, because on my own land. Because in England, you were a peer. You were a sharecropper.
Right.
You worked for King, Baron, Earl, whoever, and you worked your tail off for that, and you gave it. So they want to come over here so they get some land ownership.
That's right. I can't blame them.
That's what I'm talking about. So it's about ownership. and we get mixed up on it, and that's again, that's we were trying to come back from prior to the sanitation strike, Beale Street. They began to tear up Beale Street to destroy that economic base down there, which was a great economic base. So they tore it up. We let them tear it up because now we can go to the Peabody. And I argue with Jesse Turner about that. I don't want to march to eat. I want to march for a job. Give me a job. If I got a job and got some money, they gonna let me come and eat.
Right.
But if I ain't got no money, they send a kid down there to get some coffee. 6 cups of coffee, man, says $6. He didn't have $6. They're gonna lock him up. You know what I'm talking about? So, sometimes we've done things the wrong way, so right way. We make mistakes, and you've got to correct those. We shouldn't make the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. So again, we're in a plight now. We say we're liberated, but we're not. Liberty becomes at a price.
Right.
And our young people don't want to pay that price.
I mean, it's true of it. I just look at I don't know, it is interesting. I know, Harry Belafonte said, Dr. King said it was like integrating into a burning house, that we integrated into a burning house. And I know I listened to Marion Barry several years ago when he was on Chris Rock show. He was talking about, back in the movement days, instead of us trying to get on the bus, we should have been trying to own the bus company.
Own the bus company.
But we really got lost, and I just got kind of messed up.
Hey, look at, the Jews were in the same position that we were in. They couldn't go on the beaches, right?
Right.
They owned Hilton Head. Japanese trying to take Hawaii. They couldn't. Now they own it.
Right. Economics. You're right. They brought that way in.
And the kids asked me, said, Coach, why don't you go around the drive-in window? I said, never, as long as I live. He said, why? I said, that's why I had to go when I couldn't go in the front door. Why am I going to go to the side window now? You see what I'm talking about? I had on the thing yesterday on a show showing the best barbecue. Best barbecue. Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi. I said the best barbecue was on 4th Street. That deal. Johnny Mills Barbecue, the best barbecue in the world. He shipped barbecue all over the United States, all over Europe and Asia, Italy and France. All the movie stars went to his place on Beale Street. It had to have a black section and a white section. The white section, they flooded that place every day. But see, somebody got the formula, or some of the formula, and started barbecuing. It's always some money in barbecuing. We were the best carpenters. We could lay on the best carpeting. We did all the carpeting of all the theaters in Mid-South. Some guy come along and said, well, man, let me try that. Now, we don't do no carpeting. We were the best sod people, the best lawn care. We don't do that no more. We were the best janitors. We don't even do that no more. You follow me? We give it all up.
Right.
Oh, man, we don't. That's menial job. That's where the money is. In services.
Right.
Always have been, always will be. And we gave it up.
What is our mentality? Like you talking about the mentality, the slave mentality, or the complex we have.
Yeah, I want to be over here. But have I educated myself to be over there?
No.
Have I set my goals to be over there? Have I worked toward those dreams? You see, Dr. King said dream, but dream ain't nothing if you don't go over here and work to fulfill it.
That's true.
See what I'm talking about? So the kids now are playing games with themselves. Oh, I can go out here and get me some grills, and I've arrived. Right where? Right. You made all the money and give it to the dentist. Now what you got? You got a bank account? No. I got me a car. What kind of car you got? Oh, I got them big rims on it, blah, 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 blah. The rims cost more than the car. Right. Got the money in the bank? Got a job? I'm going to pimp my way. I'm going to do this my way. So instead of doing the right thing and getting an education, because now you can get an education. Right. Frederick Douglass could not go to school. Became one of the greatest orators and greatest writers that we've had. And he picked it up in the street. Hey, little boy, where you come from? School? What you learned today? Tell me. Show me. And he picked it up that way and learned. We got 180 days to go to school, and then now, according to the stats, of the kids in the ghetto, 56% are dropping out. 56% are dropping out. What does that lead a people? Where does that lead a people?
Got no future. Like people without knowledge will perish, right?
No, that's what I'm talking about. See, at one time in the state of Tennessee, they had a law, especially from the rural areas, because most of that, at one time when they made this law, was rural, cotton picking and, all this kind of cropping and stuff. White kids go to school 50 days, black kids go 50 days a year. The white kid could go 75 days a year. And that depends on whose plantation you lived on. And now you can go 180 days you don't want to go. And when you go, you don't want to go to class. And we rather pick up Atticus syndrome of being a prisoner prostitute and to do the right thing. And you tell the kids where it comes from and what it is. They don't care. Don't mean nothing to me. Because the rapper says it's all right. It's all right to call my mama a bitch. It's all right to call my mama a hoe. And what we get to, what kind of mentality we got? We destroying ourselves. So all the work that these men on the sanitation department went through with to be considered as a man so they could take care of their families, they could live a decent life and have something and own something and have a bank account, is almost for naught when these kids are doing this kind of crazy stuff. Shooting each other, shoot up the school. Wait on, what's going on?
Right.
So what did we learn out of the sanitation situation? It seems like zero. And what bothers me about it is the kids who are doing this, their parents, and I would guarantee you, was not involved in marching or any form of the sanitation strike. I guarantee you. Because they cannot tell the child nothing that happened because they wasn't there. You know what I'm talking about? So they're ashamed to say anything. Were you there? No. They won't talk about it. Can't talk about it. Scared to talk about it. So the child thinks, well, my mama still and daddy talks about, man, what they did to the boss man today. That's a lie. You ain't wouldn't call no cussing no boss man at the job today and still got a job. Right. But it's just what these kids hear. But their parents was not involved in the process and in the change. Same thing out here in Fayette County. These people, his belongings were put out in the road if they attempted to go down there to vote. They couldn't buy no groceries, couldn't buy gasoline, couldn't buy nothing. It was a blacklist. And these kids won't go vote. The ones who won't go vote are the ones whose parents was not involved in the process. Right. So I don't know what we do. I don't know how we, no, the dream is not fulfilled. And these kids are delaying it by their actions.
You think it's a vacuum thing? I know you go back to the parents, and I think a lot of times we tend to blame the kids more so for lack of leadership on the part of the previous generation. Like you talk about the parents of the kids. The parents. And so is it a leadership vacuum? Because a lot of times you kids look at the rappers and entertainers as being leaders. I find that kind of ridiculous sometimes because I'm saying these parents who was not a part of the movement. If you're not a part of something, how you know what it's about? Right. So they weren't a part of it. That's why they still walk around and say, go sit down over there. Why are you using that term of language in 2008? Right. That means you didn't you didn't get an education, which means you can't encourage your child to get an education. And I guarantee you most of those are dropouts themselves. Parents will drop out themselves. And like the scary thing you point out, we're going to have a lot more parents that are drop out having kids. Yeah. A lot more kids. I don't know. It's like it got worse than it got better. Like I was thinking, was it this bad back in 1968? No.
Because in my ear, but during that time, just behind me, the kids, like I was told, you can go ahead and get a baby. As soon as you get it, you get out of my house and get your job, and you take care of it.
Right.
Because there's only one man in this house. If you got a child, you're going to think you're a man, and you're not going to be a man in my house. You're going to get out of my house.
Right.
Which means then what? I tighten that belt up. I say, oh, man, I better hold on here. Do I want to go work over here and then can't make no money? Or do I want to get the education where I make more money? And I can take care of my family. Follow me? That was the theory. That was sent home. Not only by the home, but by the church. By the guys on the corner. Man, I go down the corner, man. You went to school there? Yeah, I've been to school. Okay, it's okay. All right, then. I don't want you to be like me. I want you to go to school. That's what we were told. You wouldn't say, hey, take some, you want to drink out this bottle? No. We were told to get our bus to school.
Yeah, but we don't have that village concept anymore. I mean, people don't even know their neighbors. You live next door to people for years.
Well, when I was a
policeman, I even talked to them.
When I was a policeman in Orange Mountain and Hamilton, you wouldn't find no child school age on the street during school hours. Because I'd pick his butt up and carry him to the nearest school or carry him back to school where he was supposed to be being.
Right.
But now police say they can't do it. That's a lie. You're just too lazy to do it. See, so we had a breakdown, and it's because the community is not supporting the total. You know, the guys who work for FedEx Express or work in the bank now, I'm a big shot now, and, you know, I'm going to move out. There's another thing, too, see, before the integration, everybody stayed in the same community.
Right.
So those who did get a BA or MA stayed in the same area. Teachers stayed in the same area. Doctors stayed in the same area. So you had some images. You had some folks telling you, hey, we got to do better. You had kids who were talking to the doctor's kids and the pharmacist's kids, hey, man, we all going to graduate together, man. We're going to be something, too. You see?
That's true.
Like some of my classmates. You know, I look at George Farley up in Cleveland now. He was, you know, George, and we all came through this thing. George is a lawyer. Most of my classmates came out, I think one of the greatest classes that come out of Manassas. Doctors, lawyers, judges, you know, funeral directors, rest homeowners, you know. I mean, just name it. Because we were encouraged to be the best of whatever our dream was, and you work at it. And you work at it. And you work at it. Mr. Hayes would go to the corner of Firestone and Thomas and bring your butt back to school. And you was going to learn. That was the difference. Everybody became involved. Again, the village. Again, the village.
Let me ask you this. You think Brown v. Board, the way it was handled, is kind of like it destroyed the village concept?
Sure it did.
Okay.
I was, you know, it's good to say I can go to any school I want to go to. That's fine. Just look at Memphis alone, which I fought, and I'm on record of being against it.
Right.
I'm on record of being against it. I met with black and white kids from White Station, Central, Miss Hooks and I, and several more. Found out what the kids' idea was on how it should be done orderly and done effectively. Judge McRae wouldn't buy the idea. Judge Stimbert, superintendent, wouldn't buy the idea because the elites saying this is what they wanted. Again, the elites, you know who those are. You know, so therefore, the kids said the best way to do it. Kids coming to school the first time don't want to go to school no way. But once he starts to school, he's going to make friends and friends for life.
Right.
Here I am in the 10th or 11th grade or 12th grade, and you're going to move me. I'm already the captain of the cheerleading, captain of the football team, captain of the basketball team, captain of the vocation, whatever. And you move me to a new school. Am I going to be the captain? You know what I'm talking about? So they told their parents, I'm not going to be trying. I want to stay here. I want to take me somewhere else. I don't want to do that. So all at once, overnight, what do you have? 9,000 private schools. Overnight. Now what do you have? Schools that ain't got no money, right? Economically, who getting the money? That yellow bus company. busing kids from Carver High School to Booker Washington to Hamilton, Hamilton to Melrose, Melrose to Northside, Northside to Manassas. Go round robin. So you spend the majority of your waking hours in school, on a school bus, or in school. So what neighborhood? I don't know about no neighborhood. When I come home, it's dark.
Mm.
So what do I have to know about my neighborhood for? I don't have no use for my neighborhood. I don't know anything about it. All my friends I'm going to visit lives over in Orange Mountain area or live over some other area. I don't know anything about my own community. You follow me?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I never have it, put it that way. I mean, that's a great way of looking at it. Cause also, what about the black teachers, too? I mean, they're not going to get hired by the white schools.
Well, what you did was, this is why I was against it. I had a police service center on Florida Street, next to Carver.
Mm-hmm.
I began to see the good black teachers being taken out and sent to Central and White Station. Then they were sending us to nobodies over to Carver.
Mm.
Follow me? I knew then what was going to happen. See, teachers, when I grew up, loved us. We were their children. Okay? They spent their time. They gave all their effort. Because what? It's bad to say we had an all-black situation.
Right.
Okay? So, they wanted you to achieve. You're going to achieve at whatever cost. And whatever it takes for you to achieve, you're going to achieve. You're going to be somebody. You're going to be a lawyer, doctor. You're going to West Point. You're going to, wherever you want to go, we're going to go.
Right.
Harvard High School, we got kids that went to Wheatley, went to Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, West Point. I got pictures to show you where they went. Because that's what we strived for. That's what, it was a whole idea. So when you did this, I bet you ain't had one to go there from over there.
Hmm.
See what I'm talking about? So it was that I know you. Now, if I am not familiar with your history, and I want to have a sensitivity to your history, how can I really impart the right knowledge to you?
Right.
Can I give you really the time? I'm not saying all now. I'm not saying all. But you do still have a few who are very sensitive and work their tails off to try to help that black child.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a few. See, the reason I say that, check where their kids are going to school.
Mm-hmm.
If they're in Catholic school or private school, that tells you where they are.
That's true. I know you said all this. This is like actual factuals, like with the private school thing. I know reading about the Little Rock situation, the Little Rock 9 situation, where like the poor white kids, they were mad at the black kids for integrating Central High School because all their rich white friends end up leaving the
right.
school and forming private schools. Their parents, like the doctors and lawyers, the elite,
but I found
forming private schools. So you're right about that. It is a known trend.
Because they didn't have no money to go. Poor white kids didn't have no money to go. See, that's in America, from its inception, the man with the money has always sent his child to a private school.
Right.
These schools were not mandated in America at the beginning. It wasn't mandated. It wasn't mandated until the black congressman became congressman, was education demanded and put on record. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't know that.
That's why I like history. All rich whites kids have always gone. That's where all these private academies are from.
Mm-hmm.
These military academies, and the oldest, Duke University, and all those places were academies. That's where their kids went. White kids had no money to send nobody to school because there was no private school. They were poor too.
All right.
They were sharecroppers too. How you gonna send somebody you a sharecropper?
Which is interesting. I know I was talking to a woman at the Greyhound bus stop some years ago, not that long, about 4 years ago, and she was a black woman, but she was talking about how, being from Alabama, we get this misconception about race relations sometimes, because she actually said that her parents owned like a very successful grocery business, and a lot of their main business people were white people.
Yeah.
So some of the poor white people that did actually lived in mixed neighborhoods.
Sure.
But you think about the South, you think about segregation everywhere and all things. But like you said, money could give you certain comforts,
right,
and certain sense of separation. But if you broke and poor, you basically in the same pot together. But why is it so easy for us to be divided and conquered? Like some of the poor whites.
The only thing that divided us in Memphis, Tennessee, was the integrating of the school.
Mm-hmm.
In Memphis, Tennessee, prior to the school integration, within the Parkway, there was not a segregated community at all.
Mm.
All your stores that whites ran, they stayed upstairs.
Mm.
Neighborhoods back to back, side by side. They knew each other. But when they came about, man, overnight, boom, they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
The houses you see most blacks living in, too, whites lived in them. See, Bishop Patterson was living on Parkway before integration.
Mm.
So you had a house, people all up and down living on Parkway. But when integration comes, they left and went east. So now just about all the Parkway from Bellevue back around to Cooper, back all around Airways now, it's about all black.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop Porter, Maxine, all of them bought, Mr. Hobson, all of them bought houses because it became available. And that was the Parkway. Everybody wanted to live on the Parkway. But she had blacks already living on the Parkway, right off the Parkway, on Roselle, all of them down there.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson Street, all that. See, Wilson, just turn lived on Wilson, right off of Wilson. Messio lived on Parkway and just turned on the street behind it from Bellevue. That's what I'm saying. History is important. Very important.
That's a lot of people don't know, have that type of working knowledge of the history of Memphis, especially of black Memphis.
Right.
Yeah, even black people, cause I know, I like going to Elmwood Cemetery a lot just to look at
Mm-hmm.
They won't say that's the black section, but all these prominent black folks that played a part in our history.
Yeah.
Like I think about Robert Churchson and his daughter. She got one of the first college degrees in the country, being a black woman.
He gave us he gave us the first $1,000 to get the Memphis charter back.
Yeah, but a lot of us don't know that though. It's just like they just names. People don't look behind the names.
Well, you ask the average child, they wouldn't know that.
Right.
We don't. I was listening to the radio a while ago. They was talking about New Orleans, the history of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, well, we had to go. We don't teach history and American history like we should. You don't need to teach history, so we got to look up Spain's history or French history to find out about New Orleans. The history of New Orleans, because we don't have it. I have it back here on my bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
Got it on my bookcase. The Fabulous New Orleans. That's one of the books.
Mm.
But everybody don't do that. I'm just a history crazy, So I got it because I want to know something about where I live. We got 50 states and we don't know anything about it.
That's true.
You go to Europe, everybody knows something about your state but you.
The same thing with culture, though. I think it's interesting about how, like B.B. King, when he was asking about the Beatles, when they first came over, he said all they did was re-import the blues.
That's all.
Basically, they learned from the black musicians. Little Richard gave Rolling Stone and the Beatles their first big break.
Understand, though. See, after World War I, all of our black artists went to France.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had freedom. You had no freedom over here.
Mm.
See, Josephine Baker, all these folks, they went over there. She was called the African Queen.
That's right. We think about Richard Wright now. So was he a postman in South Memphis?
He had to leave. Yeah, he had to leave to go over there to write. He accepted. Because, what he wrote, they didn't like it. It was the truth, but they didn't like it.
Right. How anybody really likes the truth? That's why you could argue that's why Dr. King was killed.
Well, Dr. King, he and I, my parents believed in that, and that's why Dr. King and I hit it off the truth. The truth shall set you free, and it always will. Nobody wants to hear, but you can't. You can repeat the truth. You can't repeat a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't say a lie the same way all the time.
You forget it.
So you actually got a chance to personally meet Dr. King?
Yeah, I got a picture of me and Dr. King. I was guarding him in 1966 when Jim Lawson's church was on Mississippi there. They had Crump.
Now, what was your impressions of him? I know, like, before you met him and when you met him, what was your impressions?
Well, he was a young man. Well, see, I had been doing some of the same thing he was doing. I was down in Atlanta. I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
In college, but you go on summer retreat with the military. They had signs up down there and outside of Georgia called the Atlanta Depot.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to have been over at one of the warehousemen, and they didn't want me to go. They just wanted me to do the payroll. So the guy came back from the warehouse side and said, "Hey, man, they got signs up." I said, "What kind of sign?" Colored sign. I said, "Ain't supposed to have it on this post." Reuben signed an executive order that no more of this crap goes on.
Right.
So the lieutenant, they was sitting up there, black lieutenant, hey, Redditt, y'all be quiet. So be quiet about what? Old Colonel across the hall. Come on, I was going to you your office. You're going to hear what I'm going to say, because if y'all don't get them signs down, I'm wiring in Washington, D.C. and find out why.
Right.
Sign came down. I went to town. No, I had a young man go to town, going to Jehovah's Witness church. Locked him up for drunk. Well, you know he wasn't drunk on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Uh-huh.
Then that Monday, the white lieutenant locked him up. So he was driving, reckless driving. And then I went to town with another young man named Madison, who was real light-skinned. And we were coming back in the Jeep, and the police stopped us and asked me if I come out with him. Boy, how come you ain't driving? I looked at him. I said, I'm a sergeant, and I don't have my driver's license. Well, you going to drive? I said, no, I'm not going to drive. I don't have a driver's license. Well, get out the car. I got out the Jeep, you know. Get in our car. Put both of us in the squad car. And we sat in there, found they come, drove away. Took us on down to the jail, put us in a conference room. We sat there. It's like, I even took me a nap. Man, I ain't go to sleep. Man, I said, go to sleep. I ain't worried about these folks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but anyway, they finally come in. This black guy come in there with, I thought it was a policeman, but he had a big old 45 in his belt. Said, y'all want to get back to the post? I said, we just down the street there. We ain't half a mile. We ain't a few blocks. No, you got to pay to get down there. That's what you mean. He said, I'm going to drive your Jeep. My wife going to drive the cab. It's going to cost you $100 a piece. And that's what we had to pay.
Mm.
Illinois, I integrated a swimming pool. Now, this was 1954 in Atlanta. 57 or 58, I integrated swimming pools in Illinois. Mm-hmm. Southern part of Illinois is about as racist as up here. The capital, Centralia, didn't allow black folks in it, Salem, Illinois. So you can imagine what kind of atmosphere. So a guy come and got me. So I know you crazy. Come on, go with me. We're going on the west side. Swimming pool. So I went over there. And we got in the pool, swim, got out and come out. Highway patrol sitting all around there. I didn't worry about it. I mean, so I was doing, my mentality has always been that way. So with Dr. King doing the Birmingham thing, so when I meet him, which is for the first time in 1966, you know, we had something in common. Because my mentality has been that way all the time, that things just wrong. And then at this point, I'm on the police department, so I'm still angry and still trying to get things changed, you know, the way they are. The only way you can change things, you got to be on the inside. You can't change things on the outside.
Right.
You cannot. So with an education, more education than even my lieutenants. And some of them couldn't write. Couldn't read, really. You make out a report, you put drunk, just drunk. Don't write nothing. If you write something, what you doing? Don't put that on there. Get that off there. Dumbish, you know. But anyway,
yeah, it makes sense though.
You know. So, and I was told by assistant chief, he called me down one Sunday morning and said, Ed Redditt, you got an education. Change is coming about, and you can help make that change. But you cannot do what these guys do. You can't put your hand in the pot. You got to go straight as an arrow. Learn the rules and regulations, which I understand you already know, and you can help make changes. See, I was in the Chiska Hotel when Kennedy was assassinated. at a community meeting for the police department.
Mm-hmm.
I was told I couldn't go in Chiska. Well, where you going? I said, I'm going to this meeting. You ain't going in here. I took my bag. Oh, okay, you're going to the meeting. Let me in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, the way things were. But again, working on changes, working on things, and so when I meet with Dr. King, and I'm his security, well, it's no big deal because our commonality is the same. Our goal is the same. How can we make orderly change?
All right.
And I got to tell the kids, we don't own a toothpick factory. How you going to go up against a howitzer or M16 or a cannon? You can't do it. So you have to use your brain. You have to use your brain. And I was always taught from a very small child, and the whole community was taught, get it up here. Can't nobody take it away. Nobody can take it away. And that's why you learn. And I was on the computer when you called me.
Sorry. That's good to know.
Yeah. I'm looking up, reading what took place last night with my basketball girls. They won the district.
Congratulations.
Yeah, they won the district. So I was reading about them. Plus, I've been on there reading, doing some more research on some more stuff about the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go back and reread that thing sometime.
I think so, cause I think they kind of change it up too much a little bit. I know what
they're not changing it up. You got not changed it up.
Mm-hmm.
You just haven't read it. And see, it was changed the first time it went around. The Constitution was changed. People don't know that.
Uh-huh.
And see, and you got to go back and revisit your history. Go revisit your laws. And that's what I've been reading all the morning. I went to do the laundry, and my wife said, "You took some books?" I said, "Yep." As I always do. Every time I go up there, a man come in and say, every time I come in, you're reading. I said, that's what I do. That's what I do.
I mean, that's good enough.
Learn it, make the man. And I was reading a book called We the People.
Mm-hmm.
Constitution of the United States of America.
I mean, a lot of us don't know. I mean, it's funny how they make immigrants come over and learn all this stuff that we don't even learn. Well,
that's what I was telling the kids today. I was in they were teaching on history. I said, bothers me that people who are coming as immigrants to this country, they have to pass a test. If they can't pass the test, they're not citizens. They cannot be born as a citizen. You are American citizens, already born because you're born here, and you don't know anything about it. I said, you don't even know anything about your county, listen on the United States.
Right.
And that's what bothers me, But again, you don't know. I'm going to tell you something now. They have taken out civics and history for a purpose. It's not in the school.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot teach it primarily. They got to be on a certain. They're more interested in the gateway and this No Child Left Behind garbage, which they can't even teach commonality anymore. They don't have time because they are practicing them trying to pass this test so they can get some more money for the school. That's So what's the priority? Education or a test? The test doesn't give you common sense. It doesn't teach you about survival in life in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't teach you about having pride in yourself. Or even being patriotic to this country. For that sense, for that matter. If you can't be patriotic to something you don't know anything about.
That's true.
So again, we're allowing this other garbage to come in, and again, that's why some of these teachers are not going to even dare to teach you. Sometimes I got one guy go in his classroom. I take to him a whole packet of registration forms for election.
Mm-hmm.
He had turned 17. I want to fill out the form, and I take it to the election commission.
Mm-hmm.
Another history teacher I taken to him a package at the beginning of school. I don't have the first one.
Mm.
Got me?
Mm-hmm.
So you might be in there, but you don't have that sensitivity to me. I don't want you to vote.
Right. I mean, that's it too. I mean, I know your history, and also you're a history maker in your own right. Some of the stuff you ran down is pretty fascinating, And it says a lot about the movement and the people that were in it, that you was doing it for the right reasons, not for the glory or the fame, but because it was the right thing to do. You had a person. When
you're pioneering something, you don't get no, you can't be in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You can't even think about that phase of it. And folks, man, the guy told me once, man, you ought to be a millionaire. I said, for what? Why? I'm gonna put my hand out and take folks' money. People don't know. See, I was the only, boys I know, the only one. I was, and it's gonna blow your mind, I was the state select committee chairman for the 1976 Republican Convention.
Really?
And I had George W. Lee. I put out a ballot across the state, and I had blacks out of every part of the state that went as delegates.
But Republicans were different. When black folks were Republicans.
Well, see, I grew up in a Republican with an aunt who was strictly Republican because she understood what they did. It's our fault we allowed things to change on us.
Right.
Follow me? We would not, had it been for Lincoln's. He didn't do it all. He had a reason for doing it, trying to keep the Union together.
Right.
But again, it happened. So we get the 13th and 14th Amendment, and we don't have enough sense to deal with it. And I tell these young, the same thing that's happening with us in Tennessee with our legislatures, the same thing that happened in Congress when we had blacks in Congress, putting our hands in the till. So we had a reason to get rid of you. Follow me?
All right.
You cannot. See, I work for Howard Baker. People would send folks to me for help. Fine. And a woman come to me one time. She said, all right. But I said, what's that? She said, that's a deed. I said, what's that for? She said, well, I didn't give the other politician all my money. And the only thing and they ain't solved my problem. And they told me to come to you, and the only thing I can left with my deed. I said, if you don't get that off my desk, my job is to help you.
Right.
It took me 3 minutes on the telephone to solve our problem. Then one of these guys called me and told me, you ought to be a millionaire, man. You ought to be charged for those services. I said, why am I being? I'm being paid for these services.
You're a public servant. You're a public servant.
I am an independent Republican. I'm a person of my own persuasion. What I mean by that is most of these black politicians, and whites too, every time they go to Washington or go to a convention, the man pays for it. The man pays for it. So what voice do you have? You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
I went broke. My credit card limited. I pay my own way. I don't want you paying nothing for me. Even when I was on Baker's staff, when I needed something in Washington, I knew he wasn't going to pay for it. I got my own plane ticket, went to Washington, went to that, whoever the department it was, and showed him my card. That card had enough power to get what I want done anyway, get me in the door. Get what I want to do. See what I'm talking about?
Right.
That's how you make an impact. We walk around with our hands out. Our black pimping political preachers. Same thing. So how can you demand anything when you receive something on the front end? How can I tell him to give you a job? I got he done paid me off. I can't ask for nothing. Now I can give you some emotional things. I can say, "Oh man, the system sure is terrible. Sure is terrible. It didn't get you no job." But if I didn't take his money, I say, "Hey, I want him to have a job in your radio station." Oh, okay, Redditt. You see the difference?
No, that is true. I was just thinking about what Ralph Abernathy, your wife, said last week at the Civil Rights Museum. She said you can't beg and fight at the same time.
You cannot beg on one hand and demand on the other.
Right, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
You won't be respected.
You can't be respected. I can walk in anywhere where there's a Republican activity. And go, so here come Mr. Republican. That's what the white folks call. Even the black know me, the old ones, will say the same thing. Because I had respectability, because I never put my hand out for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me?
Yes, sir.
I got contracts for blacks. I made them give contracts. I made them give jobs. You know, I had a grant written to give a black engineer the authority to write contracts for black contractors to get contracts from federal government, city government, state government.
Listen, but you know what I was thinking about when you were saying all this, I was thinking about Dr. King and Fannie Lou Hamer and Medgar Evers. This is what they fought and sacrificed for. I mean, but they fight for them. They wanted people to speak.
Just as poor as they was the day they started.
Right, but they wanted people like you to represent us in the government, to help us out.
Yeah.
To be public servants. But yeah, we got people that aren't doing those things. And I think he's got to get back to it now because of the scandals with the Tennessee Waltz and all this other stuff going on. You got to be a public servant.
Well,
the office
we
now.
don't. See, we are people of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And people play to our emotions. We forget about the reality. I don't want no emotions. Where is the job?
Right. Well, where's the beef?
Yeah. Come and sit down with me. Let's figure out what kind of legislation can you deal with that pertains to me. Come to me. I've been reading about what they're trying to do up here on some legislation that affect me. What are you doing about it? Or have you sold me out that you can't vote, can't fight for it?
Mm-hmm.
Change. See, a lot of our change that was made prior to after the Civil War was made because those guys were taking money and they couldn't fight the change. So, you follow me? Couldn't fight the change.
You know what? I like
But that's what the chief was telling me. You cannot fight for the change, Ed Redditt, if you're going to go out here and take graft and got prostitutes and got gambling and got drug guys working for you. How can you make a change? Okay?
That's
so
true.
You can't put your hand in the pot. You can't do what they're doing. You got to stay above that crap to make that change. And they called me the crazy nigga on the police department because I would do things. I had blacks were scared to even come around me. Oh man, you're gonna get us in trouble. You're gonna get us fired. I said, I don't get you fired because what I'm doing is following their guidelines and their dictates. They got rules and regulations. I'm following those guidelines and dictates and dealing with this problem, and nothing they can do about it. It's their rules. It's their regulations. I'm following their rules and regulations.
I want to get back to the assassination because I think it's interesting. I like to ask you this question. I read some things about it. I talked to people about it. Was there any type of, I know you said the guy who used to work for Hoover, but do you think there was any type of FBI provocateurship going on? Try to discredit Dr. King like at the rallies and whatnot, where people start having riots and whatnot?
Like I said, sure. That was orchestrated to tear those, get those kids riled up to tear up those buildings, storefronts down there. That was orchestrated all the way down the line from one of the other agencies, federal agencies.
I mean, this is like I'm asking about the security detail too. So he didn't really have the security detail once you left the firehouse.
I didn't. Well, the day that we got from the airport, okay, I went to the airport. It wasn't. Nobody told me to go. I went because I knew what the deal was. You got to stay on top of security of somebody's after all the time. If you haven't got any sensitivity to it whatsoever, they didn't want me to bring him back into Memphis. They tried to block my car out coming out the airport. But I'm a pretty good driver, so I kept him from doing that. So I stayed behind his car all the way to Lorraine. And as soon as we pulled into Lorraine and he got out, Inspector Smith comes up out of nowhere. I said, Ed, you can go now. We can handle it from here. But I never saw no we. I never saw any we.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on back around and got it into the fire station again. I never saw nobody. Now, in '66, when Claude Armour was the commissioner of fire and police, first time I was security for Dr. King, he called us in, 9 of us. He said, you guys are being assigned to an international figure, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. You will protect him with your life. If something happens to him, you leave your badge and don't bring your ass back this way.
Oh, wow.
Okay, which meant then, We walked him up the steps with our bodies into that room. When he got ready to come out, we walked him out of there with our bodies surrounding him back down those stairs. Okay? That's security. That's real security. Because I asked him, now can we get another room beside this one? No, I like that room. That's okay. If you like it, it's what I mean, I got to carry out my duties. I ain't got no other choice.
But you wouldn't recommend a room like that because it was too...
No, I wouldn't recommend that room.
Like MLK going to Dallas, you wouldn't recommend you going down a...
Look up there, you man, I told you what's going to happen to you if something happened to him. And then you look up there and see all that stuff around you and say, man, shoot, no. Then you got that hill behind right in front of Mulberry there with trees up on it, and you got the buildings above that. I said, good Lord, man, this is, improbability here.
But he normally didn't stay in that hotel when he came to Memphis, correct? He didn't stay in the Lane.
That's where he normally stayed. And that's
where he normally stayed at?
Where he normally stayed.
Oh man, how can you I like the fact that you're so upbeat and positive. Like, how can you remain positive though and upbeat after knowing that your government could have done in one of the most inspiring and important figures of the last 40-something, 50 years?
There's always have been, there always will be an undercurrent in this country that does not want it to reach that level of unity. They spent so much time in trying to devise a way to make us slaves that some factions don't want it undone. You see, the religious factor was involved in making this legal. Slavery legal.
Right.
See, not only with the planters and rich guys and all, they planned this, using the Bible, biblical part, as a part of it. That's these same neoconservatives who were part of it, and they still exist. They so neo, they won't even support John McCain.
Right. I think it's kind of weird.
I mean that's an element, man. It don't have to be big, but it's an element. And they keep talking about it. You listen to TV, that's all they talk about. This element over here, and it exists, and they're dangerous. Those guys go in the woods every weekend. They practice with that's the one. That's the what you call it, Rifle Association, whatever you want to call it. They go out all these high-powered rifles. And they go out in the woods and they practice every day.
So the NRA.
Yeah, they practice every day. That's why they didn't want to keep all these big guns staying alive, because they got them. When the strike started in Memphis, and we had that blowout up here, you couldn't buy a gun within 250 miles of Memphis. Every gun store was empty. They didn't have a shell nor a gun in the store. Memphians went and bought them, took out closed out their shipper drawers and filled them up with them guns and ammunition. So they got them. They ready. There's some want to push the button. They want to riot.
It's something, man. I just think that I wish. Like you said, I wish they really would teach this in school classrooms across the country, because people don't have a understanding. Because even the significance, let me get your opinion on the Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton Democratic nomination campaigns. And what are your thoughts about that?
Well, again, now you got Al Gore, Kennedy, Al Sharpton begin to take a look at what are y'all trying to do already. Y'all don't want to try to take this away from Obama with this super delegate stuff. Already trying to plan on how can we snatch it out of his hand. And that's why Gore is saying, I just wish he could win it without going to convention. Because we're going to have the most dirtiest, nastiest fights you ever had in your life. Follow me?
Yes, sir.
So you got that element. I don't care where it is. You can be Democrat or Republican. It's still there.
So that's the same element that killed Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah. You got to remember now, the Democratic Party, these ultra conservatives were Democrats.
Democrats, yep. You're right.
You follow me? So they don't know what.
That's why it's so confusing why black folks got so strong allegiance.
That's what I'm saying. We get all put up, but see, because you don't read. You don't keep up. You see?
And this Clinton thing, though, if people do the truth about them, though, I'm just saying, I'm not hating on them, but they ain't really for black people. Let's put it that way.
You got to remember, all he gave us was emotionalism.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Saxophone, going to the black churches. Shit. I mean, you know.
Right.
Lord of mercy. You know, what have you done? What have you done? You know, what did you do? Show me what you've done. Let me put my hands on it.
Somebody's just like, why are people so like? To me, it's like I look at a president like Barack Obama. Why do you think black folks hold so much like they hold like they got a lot of expectations for him to be like quote unquote black president, but they don't put those same type of expectations on a Hillary Clinton or even a Bill Clinton? Why is it that we put so much pressure on Barack?
Because we are still brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
Obama is the house nigga.
Right. Basically, he got to be.
That's right. See, the majority are not. We're not. Majority of black. We're not house niggas. So you got to say the majority then against him because he was a house nigga.
Right. Like Booker T. Washington was a house nigga.
That's a system that the system used to separate us.
Right.
House nigga from the field nigga, and you can't undo this stuff overnight.
Right.
And we don't spend enough time educating ourselves against this type of stuff. Brainwashing. We got to unbrainwash ourselves about this stuff. But remember now, if it hadn't been for that joke in that big house up there, we starved to death. We didn't have no clothes to put on our back. Didn't give them nothing but a pair of breeches every year. So somebody didn't bring them out from the big house and give us some clothes and some food. We starved to death.
Yeah, that's why I like you talking about Booker T. Washington.
Rabbits and squirrels and possums.
I like the fact you talk about Booker T. Washington because he understood the wakers of the white man because he was a house nigga. He understood what they wanted and how they worked.
He understood.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be savvy to work in the big house.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
You couldn't be a dummy working up there.
But you know, what is the thing, though, I think is interesting with Barack Obama is the fact that the white people, like, they can look at him and say slavery is okay because they say, well, he's Harvard educated, you know, he got this beautiful family and he speaks so well, he's smart. And also, he doesn't have a connection to, like, the transatlantic slave trade. No. Like I said, like, you know, African-American, like, he's African-American, but I'm talking about African-American with slavery roots. Wouldn't get the same type of, I think about Jesse Jackson.
Right.
Wouldn't get the same type of look from white America as a Barack Obama. So is that really a blessing in disguise?
But no, Obama is not talking politics. People think he's not talking politics. That's the difference, too.
Mm-hmm.
Young folk don't understand politics, so he's not talking politics. He said, here's a plan.
Right.
Here's a plan. We need a plan. I have a plan. If you work with me, where we can bring the blue states and the red states together, where we can bring Tennessee together with Georgia and Georgia together with New York.
Right.
That's the plan. That's not a political answer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a plan. That's the difference. So he's playing a different semantic game.
So his critics are right in justifying him not having, like, he's not ready on day one.
Mm-hmm. He's doing a smooth thing. It's not the first time it's been done.
No, of course not. I mean, I think about Kennedy or anything about Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Or anybody. Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. You got to go back. Look at this thing. So I'm saying you got to know your history and say, hey, the old saying is there's nothing new under the sun. It just might be reheated and warmed over or changed it a bit, the name change, but it's the same thing. It's been done before. And he's using that to the benefit. And the time was right to use it.
I think, yeah, it is. It's a special, I mean, it's real good to know that, in my lifetime, this could probably happen, or either the first woman or first black president, because I even think about when I tell people that it's funny how this country's talking about this now, but in 1872, Frederick Douglass was the vice president nominee on the Equal Rights Party underneath the white woman Victoria Woodhull.
Right.
This is like 7 years removed from slavery, so why is it such a big deal now?
Well, because people don't understand history. I mean, your commentators don't know anything about history. They haven't.
Yeah, we can tell that. You're right.
See, so they just run their mouth on what's going on there. That's why they repeat the same thing over and over and over again. But again, it's again, that's why I tell the kids at school, you have an opportunity. You guys who are 18 years old, you can tell your children, hey, I voted in a historical primary or a historical election.
Right.
I don't care who wins. You would have voted and participated in a history-making event in American history.
Let me ask you this, like, if it does, I mean, it is going to come down to super delegates, and Barack, if he does have the most pledged delegates and the popular vote, what do you think would happen if he don't get the nomination in Denver? You think it's going to be like 68 in Chicago, or going to be worse?
Well, it's going to be the popular vote's not going to get it. Never have gotten it.
Mm.
that's what.
So he got the pledged delegates, too. What if he got the popular vote and the pledged delegates?
Oh, yeah, they're going to do it. You can be okay. But, again, that's what they're arguing about now. And then, see, Clinton is trying to bring up, now she's not, he's doing it because he's the master planner. They're going to try to maneuver those Florida votes and Michigan votes into her hands some kind of way. They're trying their best to maneuver them in there now.
So this really was a Republican thing. This is how the system really works. Like, you know, they tried to blame the Republicans back in 2000 and 2004.
Right.
If the Democrats do the same thing, supposedly, are they the same party?
They use the same strategy. Hey, when I teach political classes, I teach to both of them, and I teach the same thing.
Right. But it was interesting though, because Lincoln was the first Republican president, and the reason why he was the first Republican, he didn't agree with the other parties out there at the time.
Reagan.
Oh, Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln. Well, see, Lincoln was one of those guys who just believed in human rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference in talking about civil rights or slavery or whatever. His things was human rights. See, if the South just said, hey, take away the 3/5, make the slave a whole person, I would agree. But you got the person being split. He ain't not even a whole person. He's not as good as your mule.
Like 3/5 of a person. Not even, you're right.
He's not even a full mule.
Right.
Mule, you count your mule as a whole mule. You count him as 3/5.
Right.
If you just agree with take the 3/5 away and make him whole, I'd agree with it. And they don't. We ain't gonna do that. And what bothers me about that is doing the convention and writing the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to the nitty-gritty on how we gonna keep states equal, that became an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got people. So how you gonna count these slaves? Well, we can compromise on that. Make them 3/5. Which means then that equals out to then what New York population may be to Georgia at that time. You follow me?
Yes, sir.
So my argument would have been to Georgia. Now you're reading saying in the original Constitution, when we first written that Constitution, was writing the Constitution, that you wanted some power. Make the slave a whole person. The more you got more slaves than New York, which means then you'd have more representation in Congress. Right. By that, I'm going to keep him as he is. I don't want him to be a whole person. If he's a whole person, then he's equal to me.
That's something, man.
It comes back to who's superior and who's inferior. I have taught, and we have taught, and we have practiced, and we have told these preachers, continue to tell the congregations that we are superior, that the slaves are inferior, and whatever God wants for them, they'll get theirs after they die.
No, I hate that. We still think like that, though. We still think like that.
I know.
It's sad, though, man.
They undo this brainwashing stuff. They're still talking this mess.
I always said Nat Turner was a minister, too. He was ordained.
Yeah.
He was.
You see what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
But Revelation don't speak of no hit by and by. It speaks of right here.
Right. That's what I said. We just, I don't know.
He's coming back to make his kingdom here. He's not going nowhere else.
Right. That's right. And I was asking, too, because I know, you're a track coach. I know we talked about this a little bit before I get to the steroid question, but I want to get your opinion about Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Now, it just came out that he's been illegally videotaping, people's schemes and stuff since 2000. Do you think that he should give back all their championships they won, supposedly, because of his cheating?
They got to figure out how he cheated.
Steve videotaped. He was videotaping things he ain't supposed to videotape.
He did what now?
He was videotaping people like walkthroughs and stuff since 2000, since he became the coach. He's been videotaping people walkthroughs. Like he, for example, was 2002 Super Bowl.
No, I don't.
He videotaped the Rams illegally.
No, I don't agree with that. I mean, stay like it is. If you want to
stay like it is,
start digging up trash, you can get every joker way back in the past.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, ain't nothing really pure.
He's not doing anything that hasn't been done before. You follow me?
Yes, sir. But the government getting involved, like your Republican friend, Senator Arlen Specter. He's the one calling for the, and he was the lawyer on the Warren Commission.
Yeah, well, see, number one, it shouldn't even go into Congress in the first place.
Right.
It shouldn't even go. Shouldn't even reach it. The baseball stuff shouldn't even be up there. It shouldn't be talking about steroids in Congress.
That's crazy though. It's insane.
You know, if FDA don't sanction all this stuff, don't approve any stuff or disapprove any stuff, well, what will Congress got to do it? They won't pass a law to deal with it. They have not passed a law to deal with FDA in regards to this kind of stuff. So why are you going to bring these players in there and deal with them about it?
Well, let me ask you about the steroids.
If you were regulated and had regulations on it, then you could deal with it because it'd be illegal. And you haven't brought the FDA don't have no authority. So how you gonna bring what you dealing with in the first place? When you decided the Congress to pick up the act, say I'm gonna deal with FDA, and tell the FDA what they need to do and should be doing, what they have not done, they have not done, then you leave these baseball players alone until you get a law.
That's true. What do you think about that, though? You think this should hurt, like, Roger? You got arguably the best baseball pitcher of his generation, Roger Clemens, and arguably the greatest baseball hitter or player of his generation, Barry Bonds. Should they be kept out the Hall of Fame because of their alleged use of steroids?
Steroids don't have anything to do with your eyes, do it?
No, I know. Like you said, you got to have a talent.
I mean, your eyes ain't got a thing, do you? You got to see.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see the ball, how you going to hit it?
That's true.
So what about the rest of the guys who took the steroids? They didn't achieve anything, so they didn't have no talent.
That's true. They didn't get as far as these guys did.
100 guys they claim that took this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All players. And you only got 2 that achieved? Something wrong with that equation.
Well, some people will argue Sammy Sosa, too. I mean, with the 360 home run seasons he had, are they legitimate, quote unquote?
As far as I'm concerned, they're legitimate. If a man 40 years old wanted to throw, I'm trying to think of the football player. I almost called his name. Way back. I mean, he's almost 50. He did everything. Kicked the ball, kicked off, extra points, quarterback.
So Frank Talkington, is that Frank Talkington? Not Frank Talkington, but George Blandel or something? Or?
Yeah, it's way back. Anyway, he did everything. Now, if he was on steroids, he wasn't on no steroids. I don't guess. But he did everything. He ain't had nobody come along and do it no more.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to get a point over that how you going to take some away if you got 100 guys that's taking it. So that means you got enough people out of sample to see that something is effective or not effective. And you got 100 guys that's taking it, and only 2 show any promise. Something wrong somewhere. And
also the fact that it's available and so many people are taking it, you actually are playing against a level playing field. Right. It ain't like you got an upper hand.
So if only 100 out of 100, only 2, then the stuff is not proven to be worthy. It's not no good. If it's that good, you got to have more than 2 out of 100 that succeeded. If it's good.
Should the same argument be made for track and field? I mean, I know you're a track coach.
Yeah. Well, again, if you want to go back, they have gone back. They claim they're still getting folks, but you can't get folks on that. I just can't believe. And I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and said, my doctor, I was getting my physical, and he mentioned something about some kind of something. He said, that's one of those drugs. I said, what does it do? He said, really nothing. But that's on the list. He gonna make for does run fast? Can I get some of it so I can run fast? He said, ain't gonna do no good. It's just something. But they go if you use it, they would disallow your running. Well, even if you won 3rd place, they'd disallow you. I said, that's crazy.
Well, the reason why we talking about this too is, about the Balco thing. It was because of a track coach turning in the samples or whatever to the authorities.
My problem is with Mary. I put Mary. Mary, her thing there. Her thing is not having any common sense. Mm-hmm. All her preconceived ideas have been has now, she was a college-educated girl. Her decisions to do everything she's done has been poor.
Mm.
You marry a guy that's 20 years old and you all look like Kukong Kang, and you know he's on something. Then you turn around and get rid of him and get another guy that's being investigated for the stuff, knowing everybody's on top of him. Then you have a baby by him, and then that's fine. Then you go follow him to Canada, going to a guy who's been banned from coaching by the IAF and everybody else, and go up in to be your coach. Now, that's bad decisions. And as a result, everybody, look, we're going to make your stuff real. We're going to get on you like hot on rice. We're going to we're going to pay somebody to say you did something. You follow me? The only reason she came back from Canada because Nike said if you don't come back down here in the United States, we're going to take away that $80,000 a contract, $800,000 contract. Now, ain't no way where I'm going to Canada with nobody to somebody, the coach that I know that's already under scrutiny. If I go, I'm under scrutiny. I just divorced a man who was under scrutiny, and he admitted and found out that he was taking it. Now, why am I going to get involved with somebody else? So her stuff is stupidity.
It is stupidity.
Stupidity.
And like, you can't lie on the oath either. Like, I mean, like, I'm going to ask you this too before we go. What do you think about the thing going on with the mayor of Detroit? The hip-hop mayor of all things.
Well,
Kilpatrick.
Clinton got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
He's the president of the United States. They didn't bother him.
But I'm talking about, I go back to what you were saying, though. I don't even care about the affair. I think that's him and his wife business. But the fact that he lied on the oath and cost the city millions of dollars.
About the $1 million.
He should be resigned off of that. I mean, off of that alone.
But he didn't let Clinton resign.
That's true. He got some good points. But I think it's unfortunate, man. How low have we come? I mean, I know they always trying to focus bad things on black males, and it ain't because their white counterparts are doing the same thing, of course.
Or worse.
Or worse. But do you think that
Okay, what about the senator? He's back on. They called him and told him don't resign.
The one that the homosexual Republican from Idaho.
So he's not resigned. So what they're gonna do to him? Say you can't talk about certain things. Oh, bull! I'm still getting $100,000 a year.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is sad though. The people that we really need, we don't really. I don't know. Like, what do you think about us though? We don't really support people that really are for our best interest sometimes.
I ran for sheriff in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
I ran for county exec out here.
Yes, sir.
Board. Not elected. Black folks wouldn't elect me.
But you got such a working knowledge. I mean, you got hands-on experience.
People do not want anybody. And I was in Memphis. I said I do not want no power brokers' money. Use my own first. Same thing out here. Don't want your money because I'm going to run an honest government. I'm going to do what needs to be done for the people, not what the power brokers don't want for the people.
All right.
They don't want that. People at large, the power brokers do not want that. They want somebody that they can handle. They want somebody that they can put some money in their pocket and so forth. And Harrington has gotten away with it, a lot of things, but he's still giving some of the stuff is agreed upon for emotion, like Harold Sr. did. Emotion. See, when Harrington, they wouldn't take anything his first term. See, he was elected by the people. First term, okay? But soon as he was sworn in, Fred Smith and that group gave him $250,000. He said, you ain't got no money. You need this money to travel to Washington and places and get something for us.
When you said that,
I just can't, can't buy that.
I was thinking about what MLK III said about his father. He said Hosea Williams told him one time that he loved and admired his father because he comes to his fear of death and his love of wealth. And I think that's what you got to do. I think, like, if you're doing that, I just think you got to be a public servant now. I mean, you really got to serve the people now. You just can't do the same thing like we were talking about earlier about the scandals. I mean, it wasn't illegal 50 years ago to do some of the things that people are going to jail for now.
Give an example. I went to the state. Tomorrow, I want me to come up there to straighten out the Tennessee Employment Security. It was a mess. Attn used it as a political agency. It was a mess. They had party girls on staff just to party, just to, this kind of stuff. Anyway, I broke it up. Brought the managers in. I said, "Are you a manager?" No. I said, "Okay, then. We're going to create something then to give you an equal standard in this thing, but you're going to do the work."
Right.
Now, you're not going. I said, "I want you to come report to me." You mean I can come to you? I said, "Yes, you can come to me. I'm the commissioner." I had to go. I said, "What did I say? Come to me." I said, "Because the stuff that you're doing," and I said, "I'm going to be traveling. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to be one of these politicians sitting in the office. You're not going to ever know when I'm going to show up or when I'm coming. My secretary even know when I'm going to leave. She don't know where I'm going. I might even tell her." And my thing is that you were hired to serve the people. You're here to give tests. You're here to give people jobs, and you're here to pay them when they're unemployed. That's your job.
Right.
Don't dictate to them. You don't talk nasty to them. You don't mistreat them in any way, form, or fashion. When these people come in here have a hearing impairment, you serve them. Well, we don't know. I said, "Well, you're going to learn how." Every office is going to go to Memphis State and learn the sign language. I want 2 members in each office doing sign language. You're going to serve these young folk who have hearing impairment. Do you understand? And if I come in here and catch you not serving it, then you're going to get suspended. I'm going to start a case file on you, and I'm going to get rid of you. Do you understand that? I had 11 guys, 1 black and 10 whites, to carry me to court. I beat their butts in court. I said, "Now, are you going to do what I tell you to do, or are you going to leave?" Sometimes you got to make folks, it says, the Constitution says that once you are elected or once you are appointed, you are a servant of the people. Servant of the people. That means you're supposed to serve and take care of their needs as the government so dictates. I go in offices and find guys, people on the desk, and I stand in the back and look at them. Didn't move. They were people sitting out there waiting and reading a book. I come around. I said, "What's the problem?" "Who are you?" I said, "I'm the commissioner." Oh. I said, "How come people not being served?" I said, "You need to go home for a few days so you understand what you're here for." See, that's what it takes. The people have to make the people do to carry out the mandate. And that's why we got all this red tape. You always about the red tape? You know what they do? They get a letter in today. They got an inbox and outbox. You've seen them. They just take paper from the bottom and put it to the top. Move this over here and move this. That's all they do is move box to box to the box. They don't process shit out. Excuse the expression.
Go ahead.
I said, "I don't want no boxes. I walk in here. I don't want to see none in the outbox unless it's on the way out. I don't want to see nothing in the inbox. Do you understand? You have 8 hours a day, and your box gonna be full at the inbox gonna be full at the end of the day. You ain't doing no work.
Right.
I need to get somebody to take your place." That's how you stop and have people to serve. But folks won't do this. When the guys turn folks in, they get fired. The guy in Washington, D.C., he come and told me, he wrote a whole thing on it. The guy come to work in the morning, he comes in, he hangs his coat up, he goes to his desk, checks his stuff, checks his mail, go take the newspaper, go to the restroom, stay in there for an hour, come back out, go back to his desk, move the stuff on his desk again, go back in there, go take a coffee break. At the end of the day, he hasn't done nothing. He reported, and the guy got fired for reporting him.
Oh, man. Doing the right thing. It ain't worth doing the right thing.
That's why they're trying to pass laws. What they got a name for it. Like somebody squealing on you.
Stop snitching laws.
Anyway, but they got a law now to protect you when you tell on somebody. Now they're trying to get laws to protect the person who's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
They've been getting fired for doing it. So I'm just saying, I'm saying this is that until nothing gonna straighten out until we straighten it all out. See, there's no point in Katrina. People still waiting to get a house built or waiting to get anything in Katrina. How many years has passed by?
No, it's going on 3 years almost.
Now I'm over in Africa, grinning and bending and jumping and shaking with the dancers. And what they don't know, he just took away $198 million from African nations. They don't know that.
It's like you say, you're just shuffling papers around. It's called red taping. Like you just shuffling papers to the top and move some around. And
right.
The hokey pokey.
Guys, how long have you been waiting on it? Man, I've been waiting for 3 months, man. 3 months? Good Lord, you mean been on somebody's desk for 3 months? It's got to be on somebody's desk for 3 months. Once you mail it, it has to be on somebody's desk for 3 months. It's not in the mail.
So I know, Brother Ed Redditt, I guess we can end it on this note. I'd like to thank you once again for sharing your time and input with us. I mean, so much valuable information. And we'd love to have you back on if you would like to come back on in the very near future.
Okay.
So I just want to talk to you about some things. You're such a well-read brother, and I really appreciate the fact that you took the time with us today to share all this information.
Well, I want to talk next time about my athletes.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because they're not being treated fairly either.
Definitely, we could do that. This is why I have these type of platforms for people to express themselves, because a lot of times you ain't going to see this on the TV. A lot of people think that if Fox 13 or if CNN or Fox News ain't covering it, it's not happening.
Right.
So like you said, things are going down as we speak.
Right.
Y'all shuffling papers and red tape and snitching and stuff. But thanks so much, Mr. Redditt, and God bless you. In the words of the immortal Duke Ellington, we love you madly.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.